No sound. No sound. Okay, am I coming in now? Can you hear me? Let's hear if there's any sound now. Oh no, people are saying, oh no, audio missing. Can you hear me now? You're saying good stuff that you're missing. Yeah. How much? It's back now. Yay. Okay. Let's start again. Hi, I'm Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy, your host for the Night Sky this week. Thank you so much for joining me this week. It's been a busy few days for me here in Montreal. It's been frozen. It's like minus 20, 25 degrees at night Celsius here. And it's frozen, snowy. It's really the dead of winter for me here in Montreal, Canada. But I still do some stargazing, looking at the moon and the planets as well whenever I get a chance. And I hope you have seen some cool stuff this past week. I have the comments open. I love seeing you put in where you are and maybe let me know what's caught your eye in the night sky. That'd be wonderful to see as well. And right off the bat, what I wanted to mention is that the sun is becoming more active. And in fact, there's some sunspots that are visible. and there's a couple of like a group of sunspots near the center of the sun right now, and perhaps they're almost visible to the naked eye if you have solar filters. So just remember, you can't look at the sun with your unaided eye. You need some solar filters to protect your eyes. So maybe you have like those eclipse glasses hanging around. There was a big eclipse in North America in 2017, or maybe wherever you are in the world, you have some solar filtered glasses. With those, you can take a look at the sun and see if you can spot those sunspots on the surface of the sun. And they're producing solar flares. They may produce auroras, geomagnetic activity here on Earth. So there's a lot of interesting things that are happening with the sun. There's more activity. We're on the upswing of the 11-year solar cycle. So that means there will be more aurora borealis that would be visible, more chances of geomagnetic activity, definitely from the sun. So that's something to keep an eye on. I'll put a link to my favorite channel, which is spaceweather.com, where they give you all these aurora and sunspot kind of information. So I'll make sure to put a link for that. But that's something that's visible. I'm going to try it. I have some solar eclipse glasses, and I want to head outside and see if I can see those sunspots. If I do, I'll let you know. And if you need some magnification, maybe with binoculars or a telescope, remember, you do need a solar filter at the front of your telescope or binoculars to safely look at it. Otherwise, do not try. You can really damage your eye permanently otherwise. So safety first, everyone. So with that, why don't we dive in and see the planetarium program? Here we are. We've got the night sky set up for Monday, January 31st, 2022. We're going to be heading into February now this week, and the skies are amazing. Here, of course, at sunset in the southwest is our big friend Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, still dominating the southwestern skies after your local sunset. There's no doubt about it. That's the brightest lone star that's visible right after sunset. And if you wait an hour or so after, you'll see some other stars popping up here and there in the sky. Jupiter, of course, is in the Aquarius constellation, zodiacal constellation. And then above Jupiter, it's a fairly bland type of sky. There's not too much going on where we're looking in the southwest after sunset. Pisces, Cetus, these big, grand, very old ancient constellations like Pisces and Cetus are fairly bland in terms of bright stars. There's just not any really bright stars. There's some that are, like Hamel in Aries up here is visible, as is Alpheretz, which is part of the Andromeda constellation. They are there. You can see them with the naked eye. It's just that they don't really, knock your eyes out. They're fainter stars. For the brighter stuff, really, that you want to see in the evening time this time of the year is, of course, our friends in the southeast, eastern part of the early evening sky. If I just go, say, around 8 o'clock p.m., you'll see them much better. There you go. Let me take off some of these deep sky subjects here. Let's just put them off here. I'll take them off. There you go. These are really the brightest stars in the wintertime in the northern hemisphere or the summer in the southern hemisphere. And of course, I'm talking about Orion constellation, Canis Major, talking about also Gemini is visible. These are really some of the brightest star clustering, and this creates this kind of what we call the winter hexagon, where you can actually, if I zoom out here, you'll be able to see it better. You have Capella up here, this yellowish star here pinning the top of this hexagon. You have Aldebaran in Taurus. You've got Rigel in Orion, then you have Sirius in Canis Major, Procyon in Canis Minor, and then you have Castor and Pollux, the Gemini twins, and then back up to Capella up here. And this makes this giant hexagon. We call it the winter hexagon, bias for the northern hemisphere folks, as usual, of course. But this is really the eye-catching part of the sky. There's no doubt about it. If you're new to the hobby of astronomy, this is what's going to grab your attention. There's no doubt about it in the evening time, and it's easy. And what's great is that this part of the sky is a perfect place to start learning your way how to navigate the night sky. You've got a whole bunch of constellations. I mean, you've got Auriga, that's marked by the herdsman, marked by Capella up here. You've got Taurus, which is marked by Aldebaran, the red eye of the bull, right? Orion the hunter, marked by a number of stars, of course. Here you have Betelgeuse, you have the belt of Orion. We talked about that last week, a whole bunch of stuff in Orion last week. Rigel here. Then you have Sirius down here at Canis Major. The brightest star in the entire sky is Sirius, so you can't miss it. Low in the southeast in the early evening skies. So this is really a great location to start learning a handful of constellations for this season. And you've got many weeks, if not months, to learn this and follow this group of stars as they traverse your local sky. So it's a great place to begin learning the night sky this time of the year. And I wanted to, of course, zoom in on some of the interesting deep sky objects because the moon is out of the way this week in the evening skies for the most part. So this allows us, again, just like last week, is looking at deep sky targets. These are objects that are beyond our solar system. They're much farther away. We're talking many light years away in the Milky Way galaxy. And there's three star clusters that are just beautiful to see with binoculars and telescopes. And these are M38, M36, and M37. They're in the constellation Auriga right here that I talked about. And it's really easy to find thanks to that bright yellow star called Capella. Now, Capella is a yellow giant star. It's also known affectionately as the shepherd star or the goat star. It's Alpha Aurigae. That's the official name of Capella, which of course means alpha, meaning it's the brightest star nonetheless. And it's about 43 light years away. That means it takes about 43 years to come from Capella to reach your eye. Now, what's interesting in next to Capella, being the guidepost that you want, is just underneath it are this row, kind of crooked row or arc of three star clusters. These star clusters are a part of what are named in the Messier catalog. Charles Messier, we've talked a lot about before, is considered like one of the godfathers in terms of deep sky objects for backyard sky watchers. He cataloged the brightest and probably the best things that you should put on your bucket list when you're looking at deep sky objects. And so that's what the M refers to, Messier, it's for Messier. And so M37, M36, and M38 are just beautiful clusters. So if we start like with M38 up here, M38 is a cluster open, all three of them are what we call open star clusters. So they're kind of randomly set stars, but they're definitely bunched together. You can see that visually. And so M38 is 4,600 light years away. And it's one of those three stars. It's also nicknamed, by the way, this particular star cluster is nicknamed the starfish cluster. And we don't really know exactly why it's named that, but here you can see what it would look like through a telescope. Just a gorgeous set of stars, mostly blue, hot, young blue stars, probably no older than about 100 million years old. There's a few dozen of them that are visible easily with a backyard binoculars, telescope are really a cinch to see. If you have binoculars, you just sweep underneath Capella and you'll definitely see this particular one. And just about 2.5 degrees below it is M36. I've got it marked there. It's blinking. M36, it's also known as the pinwheel cluster. It's 4,300 light years away, and this is what M36 looks like. Now you can see this one has a much more whiter stars. These are potentially older stars as well. Could be smaller stars too in M36. And then this was first recorded back in 1654. There's hints that these clusters, all three of them, were visible much farther back in ancient times because, if you had very dark skies, these are just on the verge of being visible with the naked eye, but it has to be in totally pristine skies because their magnitude is on the borderline around magnitude 6, which is really the limit of human vision. There's about 60 stars that are member of the M36 cluster. It's in an irregular shape, like I said, and it spans about 14 light years across. Imagine. So from left of this picture to the right of this picture, we're talking about, many light years that it takes for the light to travel across this span of this cluster. So that's M36, and then finally of the this trio is M37. M37 is the brightest of the trio. It's considered one of the best clusters that you can see in the entire sky, and it's just beautiful. Here you go again. Its magnitude is around combined is about 6, magnitude 6, again, on the verge of limit of human vision. But with binoculars, it's a cinch. So highly recommend with binoculars, look at the clustering of these stars. It's probably a couple of hundred of stars that belong to this cluster. Again, 4,000, let me see the distance, 4,500 light years for M37. So I'm going to zoom in there, you can see that the three clusters are very, very close. In fact, if I look at the measurement between them, so from here to here, that's about almost 6 degrees from here to here. Now, how much is almost 6 degrees? I can tell you that your fist is about 5 degrees. So I should say your 3 fingers is about 5 degrees across. So if you hold it out at arm's length, it's the 3 clusters take up just a little more than the width of your 3 fingers held at arm's length. So that's the clustering, and that is actually fits in within an average pair of binocular field of view. So all 3 of these clusters that I'm talking about here, go back here, all 3 of these clusters are visible in a single view of an average pair of binoculars, like a 7x50 pair of binoculars. You should be able to see it. So remember, though, in terms of just a little background tip, the numbering of your binoculars will help you understand how much of the sky you can see. So we're talking about angles in the sky. The degrees of separation between objects are measured in sky angles, angular, right? Measurements. And so you can use your hand to kind of see what the span is in terms of the spacing in the sky. It's really good. So your width of your 3 middle fingers held at arm's length is about 5 degrees. So this is a little more than 5 degrees. Easy peasy. And in binoculars, a 7x50 pair of binoculars means that there's the first number, 7, represents how wide of a field of view you have. 7 times magnification. And then 50 is the width of the binoculars, the main lens, I should say. The main primary lens in the front of the binoculars, that's what the 50 represents in millimeters. So a 7x50 is a 7 times magnification with a 50 millimeter lens in the front. And if you have you can see your measurement on your binoculars and see the first number represents the magnification. But an average pair of binoculars like that, like a 7x50, will easily fit all of 3 clusters into the field of view. And I can represent that here, just give you an idea. That's about what you would see in an average pair of binoculars, just about like that. You can see M38, M36, and M37 like that. So really, really cool stuff there in the evening sky. I like you guys to try to find that. Those clusters are really neat to be able to see. Now, if we go into seeing the sunset sky later this week, hold on, the moon will be part of the sky and will join Jupiter. And so on Thursday, February 3rd, this is the view after sunset. Another really easy thing to see. So the moon will be starting to come into the sky later this week. So you have plenty of time to look for deep sky objects like those clusters. The moon's glare will not interfere with your views. But starting Thursday, I think it'll be really nice to check out that moon next to Jupiter. In fact, let's check out Wednesday. It's even more interesting. So February 2nd, you'll have the moon there. Tuesday will be, tomorrow's Tuesday, February 1st. I think the moon will be too difficult to see after sun. It's too close to the sun. But by Wednesday, February 2nd, look for Jupiter and the moon together after sunset. I would say about 30 minutes, 45 minutes after sunset will be dark enough to really make an impressive pairing. And this will make for a nice photo op too. And then Thursday, there you go. By Thursday, the moon will be pulling away from Jupiter. By Friday, you can see the moon will be higher up. If we just go into a later, let me do this an hour later. There you go. You'll see the moon is going to be within Pisces, right up there near Cetus and Pisces, higher up. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. By Monday next week, look at that. It'll be near the star Hamel. Hamel's the brightest star in Aries. Okay, and so that Hamel is about 65 light years away, and it's magnitude 2, so it's visible even if you're stuck within city limits easily. So check that out. Here, I'll pull it down for you. That's basically on Monday next week, Monday night next week. I'll talk about this again in next week's show, but I just wanted to give you a heads up of how the moon is going to be moving from Jupiter to Hamel next week. So all along this week, the moon will be bouncing through this part of the sky and towards the weekend especially. So check that out. Lots of interesting things to see this week. I hope you get to see those star clusters because those are just beautiful. M36, M37, and M38 for the taking. Look for that winter hexagon as well. And of course, Jupiter meeting the moon is just going to be gorgeous in the evening skies. Thanks so much for joining me this week. I'm going to be looking through your comments as I do every week, posting star charts on my timeline. If you like this video, please show your support by subscribing to my channel, whether you're watching on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. And make sure to hit that like button as well. Your support really means a lot. Thanks so much for joining me. And until next week, I wish all of you clear skies. Bye-bye.